Mary I was the first Queen Regnant in English history. Unlike previous attempts at female rule, she managed to destroy her opposition and keep in power until her death. Zealous Mary tried to change all her brother's equally zealous reforms and return England to Catholicism, gaining the nickname Bloody Mary in the process. But what did she look like? Surprisingly, Mary's hair as adult wasn't auburn, but darker shade of strawberry blonde. This hair color was very tricky for painters to capture, and usually something went off with the pigments. It went too brown, too red, towards blonde, or some combination of these. You pretty much need to be aware it runs in the family, and how it presents, or you'll be scratching your head confused. Because finding an original with it is rare. Also, as a little child, Mary's hair was described as silver, so perhaps it was a more blondish hue at the time. But as adult it literally resembled gold. It was period ideal. As for her skin, it was fair. Though not as insanely white as Elizabeth's, it was still highly desirable. However, usually it seems much darker due to issues such as discolored varnish or surface grime. And no, even the best art conservation or restoration is not always able to fix every issue fully. Mary's eyes in portraits are always some shade of grey. However, commonly artists use cheaper blue pigments for eyes, and those tend to turn grey. So it's either grey or blue. Given her ancestry, blue is more likely. So overall, she had the most desirable coloring of the time. And since she was also pretty in the face, she was considered an attractive woman for a long time. But obviously not by everybody. Like many women with reddish hair, her brows were very light. They are barely visible in many portraits. As for her height and figure, despite 2 reports saying she was average or even tall for her age, the vast majority of accounts say she was small, short, not very tall or below average. Hence she was short. She appears taller in some portraits because of the stays, the undergarments, which shape the torso. With old stays, she is short, with new or transitional she appears taller. And yes, I disagree with current identification of this portrait as Mary Dudley, Lady Sydney. In my opinion it is Mary I prior to cancer. Cancer drastically affected Mary's appearance as queen. At times it made her seem frail and even smaller than usual, and at other times it swelled her limbs and torso, making her appear much bigger. It also affected her skin complexion and contributed to her hollow cheeks. So no wonder, reports from that time are unflattering and say she appeared older than her age. But that is an exact opposite of how Mary looked most of her life. Much younger than her age. This trait from her mother's side made women appear younger for truly long time. Yet it is rare to find portraits showcasing it. But we have one. Despite resemblance, this is not Elizabeth, but Mary. I checked carefully because siblings are tricky. Wearing this headwear, Mary must be at least 30. Yet she looks like a teenager. So to summarize, Mary had hair darker shade of golden strawberry blonde, skin fair, eyes blue or grey. She was pretty but had invisible brows. She was thin or slender, short and looked very young. Until cancer ruined everything.